Hi, I'm Avi Melamed. In this video I would like to share with you some bullet points of my analysis regarding the events in the Arab world. This is an analysis that basically I have been providing ever since the beginning of the events. The course of events up until now reconfirms and reaffirms the validity of my analysis. Some people call the events in the Arab world by the name the Arab Spring. I prefer the term the Arab Awakening. The Arab Awakening is not about Israel. It's not about the Israeli-Arab conflict. The Arab Awakening is basically the inevitable eruption of a smoking volcano. This is a volcano that has been smoking for a long time in the Arab world. The inner challenges of the Arab world, coupled with the fact that majority of the people in the Arab world are young people. Many of them are computer savvy. Many of them are well exposed to the mass communication revolution. This combination together intensified the inevitable process of eruption. In the heart of the message that comes out today from the Arab world, there is a very clear message. People in the Arab world demand future, a dignified future. They demand their governments politically accountability. They demand transparency. They demand services, they demand employment opportunities, they demand medical treatment, they demand housing solutions, they demand to fight corruption. To a certain extent, the events today stands for the end of one era of slogans and the beginning of a new era. It was very common to see time and again in this region the old slogans like "Down with the USA," "Down with Israel," "Islam is the solution." What happens right now is people in the Arab world are saying we are fed with these old, shallow, hollow slogans and we demand real answers for our real problems. The events in the Arab world today stands also for the ideological defeat of radical Islam. The biggest vision of Osama bin Laden was to see the people in the Arab world toppling down the regime in the names of radical Islam values. It didn't happen. The people in Egypt, Syria, Tunisia, Libya, they are toppling down the regimes in the name of values that to a large extent are clearly inspired by Western values. In the heart of radical Islam lies the concept that says, and I will say it in Arabic, "Istashhidu fi sabil Allah," meaning be willing to sacrifice your life in the name of Allah, God, or the religion. But in the heart of the message that comes out today from the Arab world lies totally different concept. The concept is we don't want to sacrifice our life. We want life. We want dignified life. Yet it should be emphasized, on the tactical level, radical Islam unfortunately is here and is here to stay. We know the tactical Islam activists are taking advantage of the current chaotic situation in the region. It is coupled with the disturbing phenomenon, and that is the huge spread of weapon and ammunition, including some advanced weapon systems today in the region. This is clearly a major source of concern. The whole region is going through an interesting phase where the factors, the players, are trying to reposition themselves in the face of this big tsunami. One interesting axis is the axis of the monarchies. Jordan, Morocco, the Gulf states, under the leadership of Saudi Arabia. The bottom line, it seems that in the visible future, the monarchies are going to outlast this tsunami. Another interesting axis is the political Islam, mostly the Muslim Brotherhood movement. It is quite clear that Muslim Brotherhood movement branches in Egypt, in Jordan, apparently in Syria as well, and other places, is rising to power in the current situation. Muslim Brotherhood is an anti-secular movement. Unfortunately, they stand for non-compromising animosity towards the state of Israel. Yet it will be very interesting to see how will they navigate and compromise their ideology with the need to interact with other political players in their own countries in order to be able to meet the demands of their population. Another important axis in the region is the axis known as the axis of the resistance, orchestrated by the Iranian regime and its major agencies, Assad regime in Syria, the Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas, Islamic Jihad, popular resistance committees in the Gaza Strip, and also some other radical factors that operate in the region. This axis, unfortunately, was quite successfully dictating for the last couple of decades its political radical agenda on the region. It was manifested mostly with the unfortunate fact that they have been able to dictate a couple of military rounds that were imposed on the state of Israel. However, in the last couple of months, this axis is experiencing massive turbulence. In fact, the rifts and cracks are deepening in this axis. The faith of that axis is enormously important for the region entirely and for the future of this region. Another important development is the rising tension between Turkey and Iran, as both states are struggling over hegemony and political influence in the region. It is also reflecting to a large extent the rising tension between the different sects in the Middle East. And needless to say, the rising tension, not to say even animosity, between Sunnis and Shiites in the region. The events in the Arab world are also a positive potential, in my mind. I think that hopefully, in the far future, the events that happens today in the Arab world may lead to a place where a real civil society will be formed and established in the Arab world. That is the foundation upon which a real democracy finally could be built in the Arab world. But it should be emphasized, first of all, it is a process that may be realized many years from now, because it should take a long time. There are no shortcuts. There are no bypasses. And the second thing that should be emphasized is the fact that nobody can guarantee that that scenario will take place, even though personally I'm optimistic about it. What can we say about this region in the visible future? First of all, it is obvious that massive turbulences are yet to come. Second, the most important key component as for now in the region is the whole issue of the Iranian nuclear military project. There are basically two possible scenarios. One is negative, the other one is positive. The negative one is the Iranians accomplish their mission. That is bad news to the region, needless to say, to the state of Israel. The other scenario, which is more positive, the Iranian regime does not accomplish its mission and its desire. In that case, perhaps there is a better chance for a better stability in this region, and that region will desperately need further stability. But as for now, as we are talking about stability, it would seem that given to the whole current situation and conditions, the odds for substantial collision in the region have been substantially increasing in the last couple of months. In fact, today, to a large extent, the Middle East is suffocated with fuel. The problem is that there is no lack with matches. We are clearly heading a very challenging period of time. This is Avi Melamed. Thank you for watching.